Welcome back to the Troubleshooting Life Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Peters, my co-host, Craig Poston, where we talk about various topics, sharing our experiences on life and finances. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Yeah, definitely early for us this morning, huh?
Yeah. Early morning podcasts.
Yeah, I know. We turned to a real radio station around here.
Yeah. Dude, I didn't realize how long radio stations go, man, because they have like different hosts, right? So I was like, dang, man, you guys are starting like this early in the morning? Because like, on weekends when I have like the reserve drill, I'm out earlier, and then you listen to the thing and you're like, how long have you been on? Because you'll hear them like the night before or like even earlier. I'm just like, dang.
Some stuff could be pre-recorded, but then some stuff it'll be actual live. So it just depends on what the times. I'm just going off of what like my dad. Pre-record some parts when he's about to say something, and so it'll already be there. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I always thought that was interesting because when you listen to radio, like a song cuts on, and then when it cuts off, like almost immediately someone's there, like spitting out something. And I was like, dang, dude, they have to have like the best timing in the world to do this.
Yeah, they're supposed to pay attention. Yeah. Because I remember my dad getting upset when there'll be air, like just nothing there, no music, no one saying anything. Yeah. Yeah, and he'll call up to the radio station, like, trying to see what's going on.
Yeah, that's funny. He's like, what the hell did you guys do?
Yeah, so our goals, what's been happening this week?
Dude, this week has been kind of rough. All right, so last week I talked about those 3 properties. Yeah. Right, the 3 that are going for about $475 each. Yeah, no, so going back to how they were selling it as a portfolio, that cash offer never came through. And I believe they stuck with selling each property individually because they all went way above like asking price. Yeah. Right? And then there's been a couple properties that I've seen, and one just popped up yesterday that I'm gonna kind of wait for the weekend to see because they are listing it like a lot higher than what the properties around it had sold for. So we'll see on that one. And that one's about, I think, $475, but I think the comps were like closer to like $420. Yeah. And I had put in an offer on a property that was like really close to it, I think last year, and that one had sold for $359. Yeah. And my realtor was talking to me, and she said like that was actually lower than what I put down for it. But the reason why they went with that person is because they went with a conventional loan, and I went with an FHA loan. Yeah. So, and honestly, I could have covered the conventional loan for that one because, $359. Yeah, so I'm gonna see if I can do a conventional for the $425. But if not, I might have to go back in with a FHA loan or something.
Yeah, and if I can, that 20% or 25%, whatever one they want to push you to, saying,
so anything above. Anything above 425, then it has to be 25%, man. Like for at least for me personally, not for everyone, but for me personally, like the lender won't let me go. I think that is like my threshold to be at 20. So I'm like, dang, because like on top of the 20, right? So like when you're purchasing real estate, especially with conventional loans, you have to have the 20 for the down payment, right? You have to have the 6 months buffer for mortgage payments, right? You also have to have closing costs down. And then you also have to make sure that all your credit or your revolving credit is covered, right? So they take all those into calculation, and then that's the cash amount that you have to have on hand when you close. Okay. So, which I'm really glad that they wrote those down for me so I know, right? Because when I first purchased this house, I didn't know much of anything. So like this lender is definitely a lot better than my previous lender.
Yeah, I definitely need to get with somebody like that because I remember, like purchasing the house that we're in right now, they weren't giving out a lot of information. I did a lot of research, like I actually was going to other realtors, just asking questions. I would ask. So at the time I was active duty, and where I was stationed, they had a lot of civilians who were retirees, but they've used their VA loans over and over again. And so I would ask them a lot of questions like how, how things went, how, what did they do? It was different things like that. So I got a lot of advice from different people. I didn't just just kind of go in it blindly. So I asked, I would actually call banks too. and ask them their rate with a certain credit score. So if I had this credit score, where would I be, or what is it for your lowest? What credit score do you, and they would actually give you that information, because the loan officer, the ones that are knowledgeable, they see it over and over again, so they know which ones are the best credit score to be at. Yeah. So that was I learned a lot by just kind of like doing my research, because at the time the mortgage company I was using, they weren't giving out a lot of information. They're just trying to get me approved. That was it.
No, I agree. Yeah, that was the same feeling I had with the previous lender, but this current lender, dude, they're great. And granted, the rates are a little bit higher, I will say, for like your APR and stuff, but the service is definitely a lot better. So I'm kind of willing to pay a little bit more, because I noticed that with a few people that I known, that they got a lower rate, that their lender ended up selling their mortgage, and then they ended up having again. So like one guy I know that they had like 3 different lenders within like a couple years, because the lender kept selling their mortgage.
Yeah, that was something I noticed. It seemed like the mortgage company was kind of the middle person, between us and the bank, and that's what I think they were just negotiating for them to make sure that they get a profit out of this deal. Yeah, so that's what it seemed like.
Yeah, because it's almost like flipping, right? Like if I can take your mortgage for however much, we say it's like 3, right? 3 flat, and then I take it, and then I only have it for a short amount of time, and then I put the liability on someone else, and then continue. It's basically like flipping a contract or flipping a house.
Yeah,
it's
smart, because like I know I was talking to another mortgage company, and they explained it as they have the funds to purchase the home, but then they have to get their funds back, by selling it. So they make a profit off of that, and obviously other fees here and there that they make profit off of.
Dude, so many damn fees, man.
Yeah.
The title company, I swear to God, if I see that many fees again, ridiculous. And I was like, because like, when you walk into like a title office, like, or wherever they do the title and stuff, it's like you're just talking to one person. They're just going over stuff, and you're just signing papers.
Yeah.
I was like, what do all you people do? Like, I don't want to pay for all of you people.
Yeah. I know for me, and they probably did it for you also, like they gave you the documents up front, like before you got there, so you can review them. Yeah. And now that's, exactly. Like looking through all that. But the cool thing with VA, for, veterans, they can actually get some of those fees removed.
Yeah, you can waive a few of those fees.
Yeah. So like the down payment is already non-existent, because VA is doing a guaranteer. They're doing a guaranteer where they're covering like I think it's like 25%, 20 to 25% that they're actually covering. So, and that gives the bank, that the option, hey, then since you're taking it's like they're paying our down payment, but it's like with a promise. That's what it's like. Yeah. So then they lets the bank go like, all right, well then we'll allow them, So then that's when you get your second, you try to do a second one on the VA. That's the reason why you have to kind of see if the bank is willing to take the risk, because VA is only going to cover a certain amount of that 25% for the down payment if you default on it.
Because so VA, they have a cap, right? And I think it's dependent on where you live and like the cost of living. So the cap on the total amount that you can take out for properties, like here, I don't think I think it's like in the 4 somethings. But right now actually it's no cap, right? If you that's correct. That's correct.
If you approve for it. So like, obviously the income and the credit is there, then you can it's a lot higher. But by when I went to look at doing a second one under VA, it's not a cap, but then it's kind of how they do the calculation is still under a cap. Not
it's like a soft cap.
Yeah, but you still can get approved for more. It's up to the bank.
Gotcha. That's right. Because I remember that if you removed all your liens from your VA loans, then you no longer had a cap at all. So that's right.
So That's why. Yeah, that's pretty cool for veterans, or I think also spouses of veterans too, if they needed to get, because if they're no longer here, that they
Correct.
still
Yeah,
should be able to use it. Yeah.
yeah. I think if you have a widow that was or if the widow was a spouse of a veteran and they don't remarry, then they still have access to those
Oh, okay. I didn't
benefits.
know if it was. I didn't know about the being married again thing, but
Yeah,
like, yeah, that part I
it's the
knew
same with
about. Yeah.
the I think 9/11 or with the GI Bill too.
Okay. Post 9/11. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a very handy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very handy thing to have. Yeah.
No
So
doubt.
you want to improve your life, that is one of the GI Bills that would help you and give you a little bit money in your pocket too.
Yeah.
So
You want to get paid to go to school? Post
yeah.
9/11.
Yeah. So yeah, my goals for this week or this month have not been met yet, because I need to go meet some people, and then also I haven't finished my book yet. So those are the two things. Yeah. But I still have a little time. Yeah.
If you want to go to like a networking thing within the next couple of weeks, we can go.
Yeah, no, that is a good idea. I know letting work get in the way, or that really they're not getting in the way. It's just once you get off, all the other things you got to handle, because it's not like I get to take a nap or do a lot of playing after work. So so like all the other things I have to do, it just I guess time escapes me. Can't say that I don't have time. It just escapes me. I'm not paying attention.
Yeah, the way I say it is that I do have the time. I just don't prioritize the time that I need to do so. Because like I hate saying that I don't have time, because that's not true.
Because it's not true. Yeah, because I found that out. Yeah, that is definitely not true. Like if you were to go through your 24-hour period, you'll probably find somewhere that you were not doing something.
Dude, no doubt. Especially nowadays, man. So many people watching TV probably isn't the big thing now. It's probably social media, but there's a lot of time wasters. But then there are people like driving. Sometimes the commute is long, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, people are incredibly tired, especially nowadays, and I think the stress also gets to them. So like they have to do something to de-stress. But then even if you're like trying to stay healthy, like work out, if you have to cook a meal, whatever it is, all these are like time consumers. And granted, there's ways to like lessen the time, right? So like if cooking a meal is something that's taking a lot of your time, then meal prep, right? A lot of your meals, work out earlier or find out like a quicker way to work out. Instead of going to the gym.
Picking out your clothes the night before if you're doing early morning, or taking a bag with you.
For me, it was like going to the gym was a time consumer, right? Because I'd had to travel to the gym, get into the gym, and do whatever it is. So having like the stuff in my garage is incredibly convenient for me and time efficient. And then when you're at a gym and there's multiple people there, then people are using equipment, right? And it'll take a little bit of time for that. And that was just annoying. So I like working out myself because I can just lay out everything however I want it, and then I can just go through it as quickly as possible.
Hell yeah, man. All right. So our topic this week is, it's not a punishment, it's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
So this one right here, I was thinking about it one day. Actually, I think about it a lot, because I gotta always kind of suppress those emotions of like wanting to purchase something, because it's a lot hard when you can afford to go get something and then you have to tell yourself no, because it's not needed. Because I don't know, I guess we're all like accumulator of stuff, we just want things.
That is true.
Yeah, and then I find other ways too. Like I'll try to find it cheaper, but then I'm still doing the same thing. I'm accumulating stuff. So that just like today, I'm gonna go buy this small aquarium for my kids. So like I didn't want to, and I went a cheaper route, or frugal route. I purchasing off somebody that's getting rid of theirs. Instead of spending $300 to $400 for this aquarium, because it's like an all-in-one aquarium. Buying it for $50. Because they don't want it anymore. Like,
no, I mean, I think that is a little bit more frugal, and I think with stuff like Mercari, OfferUp, eBay, XYZ, whatever it is, that it's a little bit easier to get stuff on the low, and a little bit more accessible. But I think, some people, they just have that mindset like, nah, it has to be new. It has to be brand new.
Not everything. I mean, if it's kind of trashed out, got it, but not everything. Yeah. So
definitely get your underwear new. Don't be buying that from other people.
Hey, shared underwear might be a very cost efficient way.
There you go.
As long as there's no holes in it,
Right.
No, that's pretty gross. That'll
be the next one.
Yeah, Frugal cheap. Wearing hand-me-down underwear.
Hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
Or buying hand-me-downs is more like it. You can wear hand-me-downs. You don't have to buy the hand-me-downs.
Yeah. So, as I say, like paying attention to those emotions, right? And that's another way to make it feel like that is not a punishment, because, sometimes our emotions, they get in the way of our plans, or ourselves, like our mind, it gets in the way of like something we want to do. We're like, I guess, the best convincers of ourselves. So like we can tell ourselves that we need this, even though we don't need it. Because if we ponder over it over and over again, eventually we will give ourselves a reason to go purchase something we don't need. So, and that's something I've noticed. I mean, I even did this when I was younger, right? So I would actually walk away, right? I see something I want, and I go like, if it's here tomorrow, I'll get it. And if I forget about it, I knew that it was complete want.
Yeah.
And if I remembered it, and it still was a want, I was just like, okay, well, it's still here. Now let me see if I want to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it gives you that time, that gap between of your thoughts.
Yeah. So like the way my buddy used to put it was like I know what my wants and needs are, but sometimes I need to want it.
Yeah.
Right? So so that's what he would do. Like the things that he would never really need, that's how he would justify it. He's like, I may not need it, but I want to need it. So
yeah. So that's what's So emotions definitely get in the way of something that we it makes us think that, oh yeah, we need it, we got to get it, we got it, and sometimes I have to, like, something I want, I have to just like put it down, like, all right, I don't want to see it. If it's on the phone, I'm looking at it, all right, I got to put it away. And then sometimes you can use this, because I don't want anybody to think that, not to use your emotions for certain things, because if you can use it to visualize, because that's something I do at times. I can visualize things that I want, right? And it's just a way to remember that I have these goals, right? So that's why I would do that. And then just like if someone wanted to visualize, pretty much anything, they want to win, right?
Yeah.
If you visualize beforehand, you have a higher chance of doing it, because in your mind, you've been working through it, right? Especially if you've been practicing, not something that you just woke up this morning, I visualize I'm gonna do this. I
mean, it's like so going to emotions and like visualizing, right? Like I think Mike Tyson was probably one of the best at it, where he would like psychologically get into his opponent's head before the match would even start, right? And they would lose the second they would get in the ring, before they even met up with him, or before they even like saw him, because he was just so good at convincing other people that he was going to win. So the opponent believed that they were going to lose, and that messed up their psyche and their emotions. So of course he did win, right? And that, the mentality is, I don't know what they say, is like 50%, 80% of the game or of the match or whatever it is. But even then, like, emotions themselves are incredibly temporary or fleeting things. Right. So while it may make you happy, sad, angry, whatever that emotion is, it is temporary and only for that moment, right? When you have goals, when you have a process, it is repetitive without emotion, or agnostic of a emotion, right? So say if you're going to work out, if you're going to get healthy, if you're going to buy a property, right? Your emotion doesn't really have to take over. It's similar to how you brush your teeth in the morning or at night, right? You are not emotionally attached to that action, but you continue to repeat that action, right? So treat something like working out very similar. You don't have to be emotionally attached. You don't have to be emotionally revved up. Like when I brush my teeth, I'm never pissed. I'm never incredibly happy of it. Like, it doesn't bring me any euphoria, right, to brush my teeth, but I'm still doing it. I still go through the motions. I still perform the action as good or as properly as possible. And I think that's what people don't see about sacrifice, right? Is that they do attach an emotion to it. They feel like they're losing something, but they're really not, because what they're trying to do is, if you're sacrificing, say for a diet, right? If I'm trying to lose weight and you want to restrict calories, well, don't look at it as you're restricting calories to lose weight. Look at it as you're losing weight to look better or to step into a better version of yourself.
That's yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah. And here's another thing I do when my emotions get I feel like they're getting away, or I'll try to block them in a way. I like to pick things that are a little bit out of reach, because then you can't let. So think about it, right? If something is $200,000 or more, or something like that, something that's a little bit out of my range that I wouldn't want to spend cash on, right? Stuff like that. Like, it's more like thing where I use my emotions to visualize something I want in the future, but then I'm not actually going and purchasing it, because that is not something. One, I'm not willing to finance it, or I don't have the money for it, or I don't have the cash, the capital to go and get it. But it's still something I want to do, right? But it's just I'm just using my emotions to, like, okay, this is something I want in the future, and I know it's a want, because if it was a need, obviously we would go and do it. Obviously we do it for homes, right? We go and then that's like up in the air. Some people don't believe you need a home either, right? They go like, oh, you could just still rent, you don't have to go purchase a home, right? So, but things like that. So a home, we will use the bank, so we make a way to go and spend the money in some kind of way, right? Yeah. So, I guess going back to our, the need and want, because we kind of threw it in there with the emotions, right? That whole, like, okay, this is definitely a want, because I don't necessarily need it in my home. Like I said, because we're accumulators of stuff, we're going to put stuff like, hey, I got, if people could see my office right now, there's stuff everywhere in my office. So like, and then some of it is definitely a want. And then some of it is just, some of it, I won't say it's a need, but it was something to decorate or put there, right?
Yeah. No, and the thing is, when people are going through their needs and wants, people have to realize that there's a hierarchy, right, of your needs, right? So, and some people like quote it as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and I don't think that's necessarily of stuff. I think it's just of being. So, like, it's more like mental, spiritual, whatever that is. But for physical stuff, right, what you need to live and survive is water, food, and shelter. That is your three basic needs, right? Granted, that's surviving. That's not like truly living. That's not truly thriving in life. But then go a step after that, then it's, I don't know, maybe some of the non-discretionaries, right? So maybe it's like better food, maybe it's a car, maybe it's other things, right? But they start to make those things in the hierarchy or in the different tiers their needs, right? So I may have a car, but I need a better car, right? I may have food, but I want fast food. I want more expensive food. I may have water, but I want soda. I want alcohol. I want all these other things on top of it.
Yeah, no, I definitely, I'm always a want for that alcohol.
On the alcohol, but
another thing, it could probably be part of the emotions too, where we have this fear of missing out, right? And
that's a big thing.
And that could fall under the want, which that is an emotion also. So if we think that we should also have this because somebody else has this, I mean, we see it a lot when it comes to stocks and stuff like that, right? Like people, hey, I see the stock going up, I have this fear of missing that. They don't say it like that, but that's what they have. And so then they go and purchase this, even though it's not a good deal at the time, because the money's probably already been made before then. And so, but it's it's still that idea that they want it, right? That, hey, I don't want to miss out. I want to be part of this,
Yeah, and it's so funny that you said the fear of missing out, or FOMO. right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned stocks because I believe there is an ETF that they were making or is made. It's called FOMO,
Yeah.
right? So it is for people to purchase for the fear of missing out, right? To
Yeah.
do the highs and lows or whatever it is. But yeah, no, and that's true. Whether that's stocks, right? So like you said, the psychological part is that when you see a stock going up, like say Amazon, like say Tesla, stuff like that, you're gonna want to buy into it because like, oh my goodness, it's going green as it's gonna go however long, right? But you do
Yeah.
no analysis, you don't do any of the grunt work to actually figure out why is it going up? Is it gonna continuously go up? Should I just buy and get out? Right. So there's a bunch of different things that go into that. But I mean, and it's not just stocks, right? It's like material things, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, it's because we see other people have it, right? Especially with social media nowadays, they're like, oh my God, I love that car that they have. Why can't I have that car? I like the clothes they wear, the stuff that they're repping, whatever it is. And it is the fear of missing out because you feel like their life is better, that you want the same things or stuff that is of a similar value to their stuff, whether that's monetary or experience wise, or even like going on a vacation, right? They're like, oh my God, they're going to Hawaii, then we have to go to Hawaii, right? Which is not true. Like you're paying attention to things that are not in your goals, not what you set, and you're trying to emulate what they're doing because you feel like their life is somehow better than yours, right?
Yeah.
But in my opinion, right, and I think J. Cole said it best, right? There's no such thing as a life that's better than yours. So stop focusing on what everyone else is doing. Stop trying to make their wants your needs, and just kind of focus on what your goals are and tunnel vision that.
No, that sounds great, man. Yeah, because it is that in a sense, like you said about a vehicle, the shiny object syndrome. And hey, I'm always looking at vehicles. I'm a car guy, so and when I see a brand new car, I'm like, man, that is really nice. I want to go, But then in reality, just because I can afford the car payment, I can't necessarily afford the car because like if you look at everything, right, you go like, okay, well, am I willing to pay cash for it? If I'm not willing to pay cash for it, obviously I can't afford it, right? Because so I must need that money for something else if I'm not willing to go and pay whatever amount. And then, obviously the other cost that's behind it, like the insurance depends on if it's a sports car, then it's going to be a little bit higher. Or if it's a luxury car, it's going to be a little bit higher, which I found that out. So when I got rid of my Mercedes and we went to a better vehicle, I mean, in a sense, I think it's a better vehicle because it's a better passenger vehicle for a city that has a lot of interstates, right?
Yeah.
So and then when I saw the insurance drop, and I asked, I was like, is it because of the parts are expensive? Because I was like, honestly, a Mercedes is a good car. So but I think it's the overall, if something was to happen, accident wise, to replace those parts, it's expensive, right?
It is,
So that's why sometimes that that having that shiny object syndrome or having that crazy want is not necessary, it's not needed, obviously, because like if you drill down and like, okay, am I willing to do this? Am I willing to, go through this sacrifice? Because it really, now you're sacrificing your time to buy some object because you just spent your time, or you traded your time for money, unless you are an investor or you have other ways, passive income that comes in, and that's different, right? Now your decisions can be made a little bit different, but if you're a person who's trading time for money, buying an object might not be the best, use of your time in a sense, right? With, or your money.
So, no, I fully agree with that.
Yeah. And that's, we can go to the next subject where we like, don't focus on what you're losing, right? Focus on what you gain and who you'll become. All right. And that's a great point to make, because I think that's the thing. Like, so if you were giving up alcohol, like you're like, oh yeah, I'm not having fun with my friends the same way. I'm not doing, I'm not doing this. Yeah. But in a sense, right, if you have a goal of losing weight, that means some things you might not have to get rid of alcohol altogether, but you got to at least pull it back some. You got to, you got to have it in lower quantities because you don't want it to go against you. Because you're fighting an uphill battle because, as they say, your diet is 80% of the work for losing weight.
And we kind of said earlier too that, and kind of sticking with the losing weight part. So whether that's alcohol, whether that's a certain macronutrient like carbs, fats, proteins, whatever that is, right? You're not necessarily losing that. You're just consuming less of it, right? And most things, like I said, if you go by the hierarchy of needs, you do need fats, proteins and carbohydrates in your diet, you don't need as much as you typically take, right? And then that's when you start losing weight because you're in a deficit of calories, right? So the way losing weight works is that you have a base amount of calories that you burn or do not burn within a day, right? So if you're taking more than that in a surplus, you are gaining weight, right? And I'm not saying muscle, fat, whatever that is. I'm just saying the number that you see on the scale, right? So if you realize that you're intaking a certain amount of calories and you cut back, let's say 250 calories a day, maybe even less than like around 100 calories a day, you will slowly and generally lose weight, right? And then you have to, if you add stuff like weight training or cardio exercise, whatever that is, then you're burning more calories as you're going, right? So you're not losing anything. And I can see that like some people, they may be losing an experience, right? So if it's alcohol, then like you said, people will think, well, if I'm not drinking alcohol, then I can't be social with my friends. And in real honesty, if they were your friends, if they were truly your friends, they would support what you're doing, right? Especially if you're trying to cut off alcohol to lose weight. They'd be like, okay, definitely still come out. Like, you don't have to drink. That's not why we're out here being social. It's just being around people is why we're social. And drinking just happens to be one of the mechanisms or catalysts for that social event. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that. And sometimes, those people don't want what you want. Right. So they are going to try to tempt you with, coming out to alcohol. Why would you need to lose weight? You look great, whatever you want. But they don't see the vision for you like you see the vision for you.
No, that's a good point. Also, I mean, they can help you with your focus, right? Keep your eyes on the finish line, right? Treat it like a runner, right? So when a runner is running a marathon, if they were always thinking about everything that's going on around them, they'll probably never make it to the finish line. So that's why they put their eyes on the finish line. Their mind is on the finish line. You focus on what's important. What do you want, right? Because you are going to lose certain things. I mean, as you grow, you change, right? As you become older, you grow, and not as in size, but you grow you grow mentally. So you will actually, lose friends. You might lose family, right? Because as you grow and you change and your goals are different, your focus is different, many things can happen. So never focus on what you're losing, because that is something that could be good, right? Because you could be dumping a bad habit, right? So if you wanted to keep all those bad habits, you probably won't get to your goal. So losing things isn't always a bad thing.
I agree.
It's just like how if you lost a job, lost money, it was a lesson behind it, right? It's not a complete loss. So it's sometimes it is a good thing to lose, because then some things it helps you focus on, all right, what's important. Obviously that wasn't that important, or I would have did what I need to do to keep it, right? So then you focus on something stronger, having a strong why. This is my goal. I want to handle this. This is what I want to do. And and you keep moving forward.
Because and the saying goes that your focus goes where your energy flows, right? So whatever you're focusing on, that's what you're going to put more energy towards. So like the way it's kind of put down is that like, especially with the Winter Olympics just passing, when skiers are going down the hills, there is a defined path, but there's still trees and stuff around them, right? So the way it goes is that if they keep thinking about the trees that are along the path, then they're going to end up hitting a tree, right? Because that's what their focus is going towards. But if they just focus, follow the path, they will continue to go through that path, no matter how windy it is. Of course, they have to train for it. No matter how windy it is, that they will continue on that path. And then, like you said, get to the finish line.
Yeah. And then, one thing we know that not everyone is willing to sacrifice. That we're saying, hey, it's okay. The sacrifice that you're doing is an okay thing to do, and not everybody is built to win in certain situations. I think everyone can win. I think everyone has the capacity to do whatever they want to do, but it's what you're willing to do. Like, as you said, what are you willing to lose? What are you willing to gain? Because either way it goes, it's going to be a consequence to whatever you're doing.
No, I agree. And like you said, people aren't willing to sacrifice. And maybe people are willing to sacrifice, but they're not willing to sacrifice what you are willing to sacrifice, right? Like, people are willing to sacrifice time, right? But they're not necessarily willing to sacrifice specific time, right? So they're willing to sacrifice time, going to the gym, right? But they're not willing to sacrifice time sleeping.
Yeah.
Right. So like people are like, oh, you got to get your 8 hours of sleep. And from a health standpoint, yes, you should get at least 7.5 to 9 hours of sleep based on whatever your rhythm is and how your REM cycle goes. But from a productivity standpoint, from a point where you need to do however many things to attain your goals, then yes, you may have to give up sleep, right? Especially if you're working out, you have to almost you have to prioritize time to work out, right? So when I wake up, I take a little bit of time to kind of focus, right? And kind of zone in for my day, and then I'll go work out. And then, like I said, I cut the time for working out by just having it in my garage. So, and like not everyone can do that, but when I had it in my garage, like I said, I cut out the time for travel. I cut out the time to have to go through the locker room, change, shower, whatever that is. And I can do all that here at home. And it did save me time, and it made it quicker for me to go to work or make my meetings or XYZ, whatever that is.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, it could be just, people don't have the heart for the sacrifice, right? I mean, you when it comes to real sacrifice for your goals, like you kind of almost have to dump like everything, like mentally, right? To actually go like, no, this is what I want, right? So all the stuff that scares me, all these fears I have, all that, it has to go. I have to dump all those emotions because I have an actual goal that I want to do. Because if you think about how there's some people who, literally came from nothing, right? But they knew they had to move cross country to try to fulfill this goal that they have. Think about it. They sacrifice time for the research to get over there. They sacrifice the family, the friends that they had to leave behind. Not saying they're doing it forever, but they're doing it, for the time being. Yeah. Like, so like all those things, that can be involved in a sacrifice, like I said, when it comes to studying, that's time away from your friends. You're like, hey, I gotta study for this exam. If you're planning a business, right? Same thing. You're gonna set aside the time, and you're gonna sacrifice other things that won't be important. TV might not be important anymore because now you're gonna focus your time on the research for the business, because you're going to increase your knowledge. So a lot of things that will happen when it comes to meeting your goals. You'll realize what's important and what's not important, because what's important will come back to you.
Agreed. And I think what people kind of get confused in your wants is that there's a difference between wishes and desires, right? But they're both wants, right? So a wish is just something I feel should happen, and I have no empirical evidence behind it. Right, I have no true desire to have it. When it's a desire, when it's that deep want, you can envision everything for it, right? If I want a house, right, I could see the amount of rooms, I could see exactly where it's going to be, I could see the amount of lot size I want, I can see what I'm going to do with each and every room, right? Yeah. That is a true desire. When it's a wish, you're just saying it as a material. You're just saying, yeah, I want that house because nothing, because I have no true desire for it. But and I think that's like an important thing to change in people's mind, is that while it is a want, is it a wish, or is it a true desire? Because if it's a true desire, you'll actually focus more on it, and you'll work towards it more often, and you're willing to sacrifice for something that's a desire.
Yeah, no, and because that brings to what I was listening to yesterday, right? I was listening to a podcast, and they basically were saying something about, if you wanted $1 million, right, or you wanted 10 million, or you wanted $1 billion, why do you want it, right? If you have no reason to actually want it, right, or do you have a purpose for the money, right? If you have a purpose, you plan on doing something with the money, you have a higher chance of succeeding your goal versus like someone, I want $1 million because I want to spend it, or I want $1 million because I can purchase things, or they feel like, oh, I have freedom, right? But if you have a real why behind it, like you have a higher chance of, making that goal, right? So that was, and I actually think I read that in a book also. I'm trying to remember the book, but it was saying the same thing. It was basically like you need to have a want, right? And I think it was the Think and Grow Rich. I think that was what the book. Yeah, actually, because basically, this I think it was like this preacher or somebody. He wanted $1 million, but he had to create this desire. Like he had to show, why did he need this $1 million, right? And what was he going to do with it? And he had real purpose behind it. And I think someone ended up giving him the money, and it's because of how he translated his goals for his purpose for that money. That so like it actually and it made sense, even that podcast, and it made sense when I read it too. So and then I mean it can go to our point, right? Success is it's not given, it's earned, right?
It is.
Yeah. So everything you do, you got to put forth the effort to try to get to wherever you want to be, right?
Because so think of it like this: if you're not sacrificing for your goals, then you are sacrificing your goals.
Yeah.
Right. If you're not willing to sacrifice the time to do a goal or to work towards a goal, whether that's researching to build a company, whether that's going in to do a workout, whether that's making meals, whatever that is, then you're sacrificing the actual goal that you set, or that desire that you set that you wanted to have, right? And the thing is, it's what you set, right? Your goals don't have to be based on what anyone else thinks, right? It doesn't have to be whatever your parents did. Your career doesn't have to be what your parents did. Your life doesn't have to be anything that anyone external has. You don't have to go and get properties because everyone else is getting properties. You can do something else, but you got so caught up, or the person got so caught up with what everyone else is doing, and the reason why they're not willing to sacrifice for it is because they don't really want that, right? They just feel like it's expected of them to want that. So that might be another thing too, but yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? Because just like for the real estate, like the reason why I want to really get into it is not for the fact that I want money. It's the fact that I want to help create financial freedom. And that's for me and my family. And then I want to start to move outward, right? I want to start to invest in other things. So I wanted to take the real estate, invest in something else, right? And grow that. And then eventually start to be at a point where I'm helping other people, with my wealth, right? Or I help other people gain wealth. So there's more purpose behind just me wanting to put money in my pocket or put, food on the table for my family. I want to do something more. I want to keep growing, because I think every 10 years you should be a different person. You should never be the same person. And because regardless, in some kind of way, you're going to change. You're never going to be the perfect person you were back in the day. Everything, you're going to mutate to this different person every time. So man, and we go to our next point, right? Like remembering your goals is so what I do to make sure I remember my goals, I put my goals on a mirror. All right. In the bathroom. So like I like every time I go and brush my teeth, right? Every time I get out of the shower, I'm looking at the goals in my mirror. What do you think?
No, that's a great principle, because I've been wanting to do that here as well. And it's true, because if you're not constantly reminding yourself of your goals, then you may forget exactly what it is. So like I don't necessarily do that. What I do, I have it typed up, or I have it written down on what I want to do. But I think the visual of it, like if you attach a picture to it, or some sort of illustration to it, like say I want financial freedom. Well, what does that actually look like, right? Does it look like a happy or successful family? Does it look like a huge portfolio of properties? What does that look like? And I think adding that visual just kind of elicits something out of you. And granted, we were talking about not letting really emotions take over, and it's not really emotions, but it's more motivation and just reminding yourself that that's what you're working towards, right? That it's not for nothing. It is for something down the line. And because it's hard to visualize it when it's not immediately in front of you. Like I can see a car right now. I can go to a dealership right now, but I can't go to all these properties that I want at the moment. Right? But visualizing it in some sort of way will help you determine or create that desire for yourself.
Because you can have strong emotions behind it of something that you really want. You will achieve the goal. I mean, I've done it with tests, right? Exams. Like I put in the work to study, and then I still have that fear, right? That I might not pass. So what I do is I visualize myself receiving that certificate from the exam. Like I go in there and I pass, answering all the questions. I'm visualizing all this before I go and take the exam. Now, granted, if I knew I didn't study like I should, and I still do the visualization, I'm not upset that I didn't pass because I didn't do the first part, put in the work, right? So I put in the work, then I visualize what I want to do.
And I think, one of the best like examples would be Michael Jordan, right? Like you would see him when he would win a championship, he would put up like the number of fingers, but it would always be the number after what he won. So like I think when he won his fourth championship, he put up the number 5. He was like, I'm going to go for the 5th one, right? Because he's already envisioned that he's going to get that next championship, whenever that is. But that's the thing you have to do, right? You have to envision that the next step or whatever that goal is coming to fruition or will come to fruition. And then, like Craig said, working on that grind, doing actually that grunt work to make sure that what you're doing is towards those goals, towards that vision.
Yeah. And another thing I do, right, for reminding myself of my goals, like I'll put the goals in my drawer, right? I have a drawer that I look at. I have to open it up and, if I need to grab something out of there's a set of goals in there. So I would see it when I open the drawer up too. In my office, I keep a set of goals in here. Like, even though the ones on the mirror is a more of a long distance goal. And that's the reason why I put that one on the bathroom mirror, because I want to remind myself every day, anytime that I'm dealing with, some type of crap or something, right? I remember I am trying to focus on that. I'm not focused on the now. And I've noticed that in the past about myself is I let the now overwhelm me, right? And then it can cause me to not, achieve what I really want to do.
No, agreed.
Yeah. So, I mean, what do you think about that?
So, no, it's true because, we do, for people that do have that visualization of the further goals, right, it's really hard to see what's tangible now that you're working on it, right? So, for example, if you want, like I said, a bunch of properties, or say you want to look a certain way as you're losing weight, like you can't necessarily see, or even if you do see the visual, what you're looking at right now may trump that. Right. So if you look in the mirror and you got the love handles, you got the fat around, you're like, well, that can be discerning. It can be unmotivating to see that. But if you're kind of looking at, that's why they say to do, what are those pictures? The weekly pictures, like they'll do progress pics.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
So they'll make you do progress pics because, if you're doing what you set out to do, if you're following your nutrition plan, your workouts, then you will see progress from, going from 220 pounds to 215, 210, whatever that is, and continuing, and maybe not even the number, right? You'll see your body composition change, right? So for a male, you may see like your shoulders get wider, you may see your waistline get a little bit trimmer, right? And that'll help motivate you.
Yeah, no, that is a good point. And I mean, other things that can help people, right? If you put your goals in a wallet, right? In your wallet or in your pocket or wherever you feel that, have it on your person, right? Have it on yourself as you go throughout your day, right? That can always remind you, when someone says something to you that, or at work, right? Say something to you that you dislike, that's bothering, the first thing you're not thinking about doing is quitting, because you want to actually use your, especially if it's financial, right? I'll say this, like you need a consistent amount of money for a certain period of time, and you have the goal set at a certain dollar value, yes, you can always go get another job, or you can do it where you can transition it at the right place, right? How to do it. But what if it's not that bad and you go like, okay, well, let me stick it out here for the years I said I'm gonna do, just so I can get the dollar amount that I'm looking for. And for some other people that might be, something that they don't want to do because they know they're great at getting the next job, or they set their goals high for higher pay, which can actually help them reach their dollar goal a lot quicker. So it just depends on how you want to look at that. And then also like having it in your pocket just just reminds you, okay, it will happen for me. This will happen for me. So yeah. And then also you can set the goals near your TV, right? If your issue is always going back to your TV, put your goals next to your TV or on the TV.
Or
so
on
you
the
have
TV.
to, so you have to see it first before you turn the TV on, right?
Yeah. No doubt. Or even like, on your phone, right? If you're distracted by your phone, make it like your background.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So like when you turn on your phone and you want to go to Instagram, you're like, no, wait, this is what I want to focus on. Then you stop that, right? And it may not happen all the time, but that's like the intent of it. And having on you, right? The way it was kind of put to me is that, say you're working towards something for your family, right? Then have like a recording, like a voice recording of your family, saying that that because they're dependent on you, right?
Yeah.
But just to remind you, like, no matter how hard work is, or no matter what you're sacrificing, that you're doing it for them in the end. So if you need that motivation, right, just kind of like how you need food, right, because you're going to end up feeling hungry at some point, just in general, just from a need food standpoint. Your motivation is very similar. It comes down. The fuel level comes down. So you need something to feed that motivation. So whatever that is, those little things, right? Those I guess little motivational snacks, I guess, will kind of help push you through whatever that lull point is.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're going to move down to our next segment, the frugal and cheap segment. So this one here is like waiting for things to break instead of proper maintenance. Yeah.
Man. So we're kind of talking about this a little bit, and I think it depends, right? If you are aware that things need maintenance, and I think everyone should probably be aware, right? So like, and this may not be maintenance, this may just be keep up, but say for a house, right? If you have a water softener, you need to replace the pellets. You need to add pellets or whatever that softener is. You have air filters, right? You need to do that, because if you don't, right? So for water softener, especially here in Texas, we have a lot of harsh water or hard water. So we almost need a water softener to bring down that harshness, because if you don't, then your water heater starts breaking down, right? You start getting calcium buildups or deposit buildups on all your faucets, all your shower heads, right? Yeah. For air filters, right? If you're not replacing your air filters fairly often, then your ducts will become very dirty, and they'll keep all that pollen, all that dust in it. And so like people that have a lot of allergies, you'll notice that even after you replace filters, that you're still sneezing, that you're still going through it, because there's still all that dust within the filters.
Yeah. Well, in the ducts, right? Yeah. So like, because if you don't change them, eventually that dust starts to get inside the ducts of the AC and everything, or the vents. So like, yeah. So, I mean, but that's still along the lines of maintenance. It's just called preventive maintenance, right? So like, so because you don't want the items that you have to go to, just go bad on you, just die. I mean, and it could be, financially, it could be so say if certain parts of the car needs to die, like I was told this all the time, right? Like timing chains, right? Because timing chains are so tough, right? To just like let them die, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, you don't really want that to happen, because it could cause more problems. If the time chain actually breaks. So like learning, actually trying to find out where's that threshold where the item will break. So you can, and it won't be perfect, because people use things differently. So one person might use it harder than the other, and the other person might barely use it. So but having a somewhat threshold, a mid ground to know like, we should probably place it around this time, because you don't want things to just completely break, because you never know what's the consequence behind that, because you might have to fix multiple things after that versus fixing that one thing.
No doubt. No, like and like you said, right, so like stuff like for a car, your chains, your battery may lose a cell, right? Your oil needs to be changed, your different fluids need to be changed, your tires need to be rotated, and or you need to get new ones, right? And like you say, you have to know that threshold. So for like tires, there's a certain per 30 seconds, I think, as of an inch, whatever it is, that it needs to, that you should replace it at. And, people still go down even lower than that. Like I remember I saw a car in one of the parking lots at the grocery store. It was bald. But what was so crazy is that it was a sports car. Like it was a nice sports car. It was I think it was some sort of Camaro, right? But I was like, that's hilarious. You paid all this for a sports car, yet those tires look absolutely awful, right? So I think it's people don't focus on everything of the car or of whatever they're purchasing, right? They don't really think about everything. They're like, well, it looks great, right? So they look at it like it's glass, right? Oh, it looks great. It seems like it'll perform, but it's so brittle, or your desire for it or your wish for it was so brittle that little things could break it, right? And that's why you'll see like a lot of people on the road, they'll have nice cars, but they'll have dents in it, or the headlights are going to be messed up, or X, Y, and Z, is because they only saw it for that nice shiny thing. They didn't see everything that went into actually owning the car.
Yeah, no, that was one of the reasons why we were saying about sacrifice, knowing what, if it's a need or a want, right? Because you would, if it's a want, right? Yeah, you're probably not going to do everything that you want to, that you need to do to it. If it's just a complete want, and you didn't think about everything that the amount of money that you had to put into it, or look at how much, because nowadays you can Google like what is the maintenance cost of what's going to go into a vehicle, or part replacement. Like, okay, if I was to replace this part, how much it would cost me. So it's and then it might say that they just get into a lot of small accidents that they can't report to insurance, I think proper maintenance is always key. It's always better, especially if you have a foreign car. And I know we kind of geared this more towards cars, but you also have houses, right? You don't want to you don't want your house to look bad. You don't want it to because when it's time to resell or rent it out, you have less things to take care of when it's time for you to move out to rent or sell. Because as you let that house go down and it's other things, you don't realize that there's been a small leak going on in one side of the house that you've not even paid attention to. Yeah. So just, having that proper maintenance is always key to me, instead of just letting things just go bad and I'll fix it once it breaks.
Yeah. And then, and kind of getting away from the cheap and frugal thing, but like even relationships, right? Do you only fix a relationship when it's going bad, or when it's about to end up in a separation? Yep. No, you go through. Yeah, right. Okay.
I'm just messing with you, man.
Craig does. but no, and that's actually true, right? A lot of people, they do wait until something is truly wrong, right? They don't actually work towards a relationship. They just kind of go through the motions of being in a relationship. But when things go wrong, that's when they decide, oh, I should have probably done something about that beforehand. And some of it is not just being about it's more about being proactive rather than react, right? Yeah. So like for a car, for that preventative maintenance, that is being proactive. That is understanding that you have to change out certain things within a certain amount of time. Right. So what I used to do, and I still do, I have like monthly checks for my car, and then quarterly checks for my car, and then of course like annual checks for my car. And what it is, like, monthly checks, like making sure all the headlights are good, making sure all my, say liquids, it sounds weird.
Fluids.
Yeah, fluids. Yeah, that's even worse. Yeah. All my
Wait, it's not like my moist fluids. You didn't say something like that.
Moist fluids. All my dry fluids, but all my fluids are good, right? And then in quarterly, making sure your tires are good, making sure your battery is good, all those things. And that's just being more proactive about what you have, and cherishing that you have something that needs maintenance.
Yeah. No, that's great points. Yeah. All right. I guess we're going to have to wind it on down. All right. Yeah. Thank you for hanging out with us today and listening to the Troubleshooting Life Podcast. I'm your host, Craig Poston, with my co-host, Jay Peters. We're signing off. See you next week.
See you next week.